Good afternoon, everybody. My name is Inga Cotton. I'm the founder and executive director of San Antonio Charter Moms, and these are Charter Moms Chats. We go live on weekday afternoons to share information with families to help them find schools that will help their kids get a great education in San Antonio. And today on the blog and our social media, we're featuring Jubilee Academies. And so now we get to talk to folks from Jubilee. So with us right now is Jessica Pastrano, and she's the marketing and communications director at Jubilee. And we're looking forward to having Dr. Kevin Phillips, superintendent, join us as soon as he comes available. But this is real life with school leaders. They are very, very, very busy. So,
Thank
so we're
you
hoping
for
to
your
drive
patience.
the chip. Yeah, of course. But Jessica is has been with Jubilee a number of years, very, very knowledgeable. So, and I encourage everybody to visit the our website, SA Charter Moms, and we're featuring the Jubilee Enrollment Guide blog post. It's on the top of the feed right now. So
Yes, and then if they have any questions, Inga, I do have some staff that's following too, and they'd be happy to kind of interact or answer any questions parents may have while we're talking. So just make sure
yeah, that's one
one-on-one.
of the fun things. That's what's fun about the live stream is that yeah, the questions and comments can happen in real time. That's
Yes.
part of what makes it fun. Yeah. Okay. Well, great. Well, Jessica, so if there are folks who maybe aren't familiar with Jubilee Academies yet, can you talk about like big picture, like mission and vision?
Yes. So for those that aren't familiar with Jubilee, Jubilee Academies is an open enrollment charter school. We've been around for over 20 years. Our home office is here in San Antonio, and we have 6 sites on the southeast side, northwest side. We really expanded. We started on the southeast side, and we serve about 13 campuses across South Texas. So we definitely have grown over the years with approximately like 7,000 students, give or take. With COVID and just kind of trying to jump back into the groove of everything, those numbers have, changed a little bit, but things are looking on the bright side this year. And our mission really here at Jubilee is to provide a nurturing community focused on leadership and educational excellence. And what makes us unique in that sense is that our approach is to focus on educating the whole child. And we do that through our 3 pillars of success. And that is leadership, character, and excellence. So what we want to do is we want to build leaders not just in the classroom, but leaders in the community. We want them to leave Jubilee inspired to do good in the community, to act with integrity, and just to be excellent in whatever it is that they choose to do post-graduation or once they leave Jubilee. Now, how we do that is really fun too. We've implemented a determined destiny values. It's basically our foundation. It's how we operate internally, in the classroom, as an organization, as a staff. And so Jubilee is an acronym. It's really fun. So J is for joy. You have understanding, balance, integrity, leadership, empowerment, and excellence. And we're really proud of those. It's kind of a mouthful, but really that is what sets the tone for Jubilee. We have so many students that really enjoy connecting with us and building relationships outside of just the academic piece of Jubilee. And so with the DDVs also came, okay, well, how do we incorporate this into the classroom? So there's values, right? And this is what we talk about day in, day out, but how do we put them into action? And so we now have our determined destiny culture. And if you were to visit a campus, you guys would feel it right away. So when you walk in to a classroom, you have teachers giving empowerment shakes or empowerment hugs or high fives, like just getting the energy going for all the students. And then you can go in and they have like excellence agreements. There's lots of different things that we've implemented or conversations that they're having, like in the beginning of class. You know what? Let's start class. But before we have this serious conversation, guys, let's talk about some celebrations. Let's have some joy, and so I just feel like the kids are really, they're really enjoying that piece of it. I even see it, they're taking it home. Families are coming and talking to us when they see us at events, and just how much they really enjoy that piece of everything. So it's been a really great 6 years I've been with Jubilee, and I have sincerely seen a shift and growth with our mindset, with how we operate as an organization altogether throughout all of our regions.
Yeah, well, I can validate what Jessica's saying because I've been able to go on school tours. Even back in like, gosh, I want to say like 2014-ish, like in those early days of SU Charter Moms,
Yes.
we were visiting the original campus, like in the old building, and then more recently, like visiting, like yeah, like I mean, the campus looks completely different, like with new construction and all those athletic facilities. But like beyond just the change in the campus, like I think what's consistent is, um, right, like for in order for the students to succeed once they get out in the world, like they not only need the academic information, like, but they also need like habits of work and life and how they view the world, how they relate to each other. So like those soft skills, and
Mhm.
you can feel it when you visit a campus and you interact with students, like that they're equipped with more than just the academics, but that they have habits that are going to set them up for success as they go further in life. And that's why like the values are not like there's a lot of thought into it, the acronym and things like that, but it's how it's implemented and how it shapes the students. And it's really something that like it's not captured in the data necessarily, but it's like I feel like people need to go and visit. They need to like see a campus and see
Exactly.
like
You
what
need to
this sort
feel
of
the
culture is
culture.
doing for the students.
Yeah, it's really difficult. I tell people sometimes, they ask me about Jubilee and I share all this, right? Like a mouthful of like all these great things. And it's really hard sometimes to put into words because it's so much. But when you get into the campus and you actually feel the culture or you see these things happening or being put into action, it's great. Like even the balance piece. So every month we focus on one of the values, and this month is balance. And so we held a board meeting just the other day, and we were getting some students that would come up and just share, what is balance to them. And we had kindergarten, coming up and just sharing like what is balance to them. And it's amazing just the stuff that comes out because they're seeing, and they're hearing and they're listening to their peers. And it's just to us to see that at such a young age, they're able to, formulate those types of like thoughts and skill sets is just amazing.
Yeah, yeah. So, well, you mentioned kindergartners. Actually, that's a perfect segue to my next question. So I mean, for parents who want to know more about the academic programs and like what's offered to students, like so for like early childhood and elementary, like what do students experience at a Jubilee campus?
Yes, so we have several sites. So the 6 sites here, and all of them kind of vary. So a lot of times I like to get to know the family and the student and say like, okay, well, hey, what are your needs, right? And what is it that you're interested in? Because a lot of times the campus is built around that community and what their interests are. So what I will say though that we're really proud of is for our younger group of kids, around literacy and numeracy, like numeracy. We've been able to put into place like new curriculum and different opportunities for us to really track like data and growth. And we're really seeing that at a young age, obviously we have to have them ready and set with the mentality to pass that STAR test in 3rd grade. Now, we don't want that to be the complete focus, but we understand that just has to happen. And so we have made some adjustments. We have like a great, I don't know if you've had the pleasure of meeting her, but Miss De Leon, she's our new curriculum director. And she has been absolutely phenomenal with the curriculum coaches, constantly on site, working with the teams. We implemented half day Wednesdays. I don't know if you're familiar with that, but half day
Mm.
Wednesdays. So students can still stay after and they can participate like in enrichment programs. But then we're offering professional development to our teachers. We want them to be able to perfect their craft, to, take what they already know and figure out, what's the best way to implement it in the classroom. And so we've really seen not just our students grow, but our faculty and our staff. And it's great to see that they're choosing to still stay with Jubilee and to utilize those skills here with us. So and also for the older kids, I mean, we started with these new tracks. So we have career technical education. That has been absolutely phenomenal for us. We have several university and college partners in the communities that we serve, not just here in San Antonio. And that there, I mean, we offer, I can list some, I mean, engineering and STEM, graphic design, culinary arts at our Lakeview site. That one's really cool. In fact, we have a tour on Monday, and the culinary art students are the ones that are going to, set us up for lunch. And it's just really great to see that the kids, we get to incorporate them. They really are the leaders. They can walk in and give you a tour of their classroom. And so There's just a whole lot of life on campus, and I feel like a lot of times I would love for parents to be able to come on site and really get a feel for what it is.
Yeah, yeah. No, you mentioned the culinary program at Lakeview. So I remember when like the Lakeview campus had just transitioned from being a private school to the charter school, and like seeing the home ec classroom and just seeing like, ooh, there's some real potential here, and seeing like STEM classrooms where there were like robotics kits ready to get unpacked and dig into, and yeah.
Yes. And our mindset there is we want them to be successful in whatever they do post graduation. And a lot of times we understand college isn't for everyone. So while academics will always be top priority and we will encourage post secondary education, there's going to be students who choose to go a different route or a different path. And we want to make sure that they're successful in whatever they choose to do. And so that is why we've built these additional tracks and trades, rather that they can still come out with certifications and they can still take on mom and dad's business, because that's what they want to do. And so just because it's not college doesn't mean that it's not successful, and so we just want to set them up for success overall.
Let's see. Okay, I think I see Dr. Phillips in the process of joining us. Oh yeah, here we go. Hey,
You made it, sir.
Dr. Phillips, thank you so much. Are you ready to oh, I'm not sure if he can hear us yet.
Can he hear us?
So he's been at a conference. Okay, we'll go back to kind of Brady Bunch view.
Yes.
When he's able to join us. We'll give him a second to get oriented. Yeah, we know that's yeah, we were talking about the big kids, and I wanted to ask about like I know that this applies to all levels, but I think especially like as the mother of a middle schooler and a high schooler, I know that like sports get to be a big deal, right? And it's not just that they get to go and compete, but also it's part of building character and building the culture of the school. So oh, Dr. Phillips says he can't hear. Let's see. Um, okay, well, Jessica, can you talk about the athletics and sports and how that's integrated at Jubilee? And I'm gonna get on the chat with Dr. Phillips and see if
Yes,
we can
no
debug the
problem.
audio a little bit. Okay.
Not a problem. So yes, our athletic program is so much more than, your average PE class, or your coaches. Our coaches come in very skilled, and they implement the values as well. And we really want to build character and integrity through our athletic program. One of the things that makes us unique as a charter is that we focused on athletics for quite some time now. We've not just started, we've been building these programs for many, many years. In fact, we don't just offer for our middle and high school, but we have sports that are available from second grade on. And we're actually even considering now for our really small ones, our kinder through first, what can we do for them too? Because we know that they also want to participate in soccer or volleyball or baseball or anything like that. And we just want to make sure that they have the opportunity to do so. One of the things that we're really proud of that we've been able to build is football. So we did have a flag football team at both our Lakeview and our JSA site. And most recently, we've been able to put together a 6-man tackle football team, which has been extremely successful. Super proud, like go Rams, because they beat, I think we're going to playoffs. I think JSA might be going to playoffs too, and in some of our other regions. So for me, I know a lot of times families are looking for that traditional setting. They want to go to a, public ISD school for that Friday night lights feel. Well, you can get Friday night lights at Jubilee, guys. Like we are doing tackle football. We have cheerleaders, we have spirit, and we have the culture. It's just a matter of, again, like coming out and really getting to know what Jubilee is about, because a lot of times it's difficult to have it just to learn about us over just one conversation. We want to bring you in. We want you to meet us and learn what we're about. And Dr. Phillips is with us.
Yeah.
Dr. Phillips,
Yes.
I don't know if you can add anything about our athletic program or about some of the new curriculums that we're implementing for the little ones in middle school and high school. We've kind of touched base on those.
Okay. I apologize for being late, y'all. I was having some technical difficulties keeping me from getting connected with you guys. But good to see you again, Inga. Always enjoy our conversations and the work that you're doing. I follow you on social media. So I really appreciate you taking the time to spotlight Jubilee a little bit. We've got, a lot of great things going on. Even since the last time we've talked, we've started some new programs and initiatives, and I don't know what all you guys have talked about so far. So I'll just let you keep working through it, and I'll chime in.
I did
Okay,
let them
well,
know
I
about the
actually,
curriculum that we implemented for the younger kids, and sort of how we've been tracking them through the beginning of the year and middle of the year and end of year. And so it really tracks the progress of our little ones around literacy and numeracy, where we knew that they needed to get stronger and where we may have seen some challenges. And that with our newest director, Ms. De Leon, she's done a phenomenal job of implementing some of these new programs, and her coaches have gone in, her instructional coaches with professional development, and our teachers have really been able to improve their craft.
Yeah, so we did a deep dive on really understanding where students are and the gaps, and then being able to help our teachers not just understand where our students are, but where they are professionally and where they needed to be professionally in order to close those gaps. And so one of the big things that we have done this year, I don't know if you talked about this, Jessica, the half-day Wednesdays.
I did.
Okay. And allowing for a lot of professional learning to take place on those half-day Wednesdays so that we can do some accelerated learning with our students and help our teachers be better at their craft. That was one of the things that, the myth about charter schools, that the teachers don't have to be certified. Well, with Jubilee, they do. And the teachers aren't as strong as teachers in ISD. Well, we're on a mission to make sure that our teachers can compete with any teachers in the state of Texas. And, not in the sense of like for competition's sake, but for the sake of equipping kids with the knowledge and skills that they need to be successful. And so that's been our focus the last 2 years.
I think that's really resonates with parents, because I think that one of the concerns I hear from parents is they want kids to get a really strong foundation, because that's what's going to help kids, have those choices in the future, right? So like Jessica talked about the different career pathways, and how that really sets kids up for success, because like you want them to be ready for college, but you also want them to have a set of skills and have some experiences and knowledge. So like this is the kind of path I'm interested in, and I'll enter the workforce like ready to contribute. Dr. Phillips, can you comment more on the CTE pathways?
Yeah. So, the reality of it is not every kid's cut out for college. Not every kid wants to go to college. And we as an organization understand that. And we as a learning institution within the state of Texas, we have to be mindful of that as a whole. Like college isn't for everybody, right? So what are we going to do to make sure that we can still have a workforce that is ready for the next step in life, whatever their next step is? So with Jubilee, what we've done is created those pathways in our high schools that allow our kids to pursue whatever their hearts desire. So one of our big pushes is at Lakeview University Prep. Now we have that University Prep in there because we offer dual enrollment classes there that are college and high school classes. But we also offer a CTE program there that is around culinary. So if kids want to be a cook, they want to pursue the hospitality industry, they can do that through the culinary program. We offer a law enforcement program there at Jubilee Lakeview. And so if kids are interested in becoming part of law enforcement or pursuing a criminal justice degree or some type of security work, then they can learn that and begin to work towards that through Lakeview University Prep. If a kid wants to really dig into computer science in terms of like graphic design or web development, and they want to really build their skills and work in that arena after high school, then we get them on that path, and they can leave us with a certificate that opens the door for them career-wise into that next level. And that's Lakeview. JSA, Jubilee San Antonio, we've got other programs there where it's computer-based programs there. It's a teaching program. If a kid wants to go into teaching, then we walk them down that road and that path that sets them in that direction there at Jubilee San Antonio. So Jubilee as a whole, you know, we've got schools in Austin, we've got schools in Kingsville and Brownsville and Harlingen. Jubilee as a whole, we're committed to making sure that our high school campuses have more than just the dual enrollment and college approach, but we also have the workforce approach at each and every campus.
And I think it's important to add, Dr. Phillips, that I know when you think dual credit or you think, our career technology education pathways, you think just high school. But we're thinking, a step ahead and talking about now even middle school. And so what we've started doing is offering our middle school students an opportunity to take, a Spanish elective course or Algebra 1 or a biology course so that they're building those high school credits. So once they get into high school, they even already have some credits set. So when they get to their junior, senior year, we're kind of clearing out their schedule so that they can really focus on whatever pathway or track they want to do, whether it's finishing up dual credit and going on campus to a university so that they can complete those courses and leave, with an associate's degree possibly, or, leaving early on with your certification to become, a cook. Or, with your AV or design certification that you need for graphics. So I think, we've been thinking a whole lot about what that process looks like and really streamlining it across the board, not just for our high school students, but for our feeder sites, our Highland Parks and our Jubilee Highland Hills, those schools that are pre-K through 8 that are then feeding into our high schools, just to make sure that we're setting them up for success for 9th grade.
Here's something I think you will find interesting, Inga. Jubilee's in conversations with San Antonio Works. And I don't know if you're familiar with San Antonio Works, but our goal is this summer to send our juniors and seniors into the workforce to do internships with organizations that are saying, we want to help develop these high school students into what we need them to be. And so our goal is to send at least 10 students into the market this summer so that they can do some internships and get paid in the process while they're learning how to do a job that they're interested in.
No, that's great news because it's a partnership with an organization that's already up and running and is already connecting people with jobs and with the industries that need workers with the right motivation and the right skills. It's so important for students to get real world experience so that they can kind of test themselves, test their ideas, and see like where they belong in the system. Hey, we've had some fun comments pop up, so let me share some of these on screen. So like Carrie Ann Flores says, proud Jubilee parent.
Yay.
All right.
Thank you.
And Maritza Perez says, daughter's first year of school and you're loving it. So I really appreciate it. It's fun to see interaction with families. The Jubilee Sendero page is following and they're saying thank you. Looks like Sandra says, we love half day Wednesdays. So that's great because it's great for the teachers are growing and learning. Yeah, and then the families get a little bit of flexibility. So hey, Wendy is a friend of mine from the Houston area and says wishes we had more schools like that in Houston. So anyway, Dr. Phillips, put that in your...
So you know what, Wendy? I may be spilling the beans a little too soon, and I don't know how soon it would happen, but Houston has been an area that we've been looking into. We have had a couple of other families and people let us know that might be one of our next spots to open up a school. So we're keeping you guys top of mind. So keep us top of mind as well.
That's right. Houston is one of our markets that we are currently researching and looking at expanding into.
Okay, that's awesome. Well, when the time comes, I'll connect you guys with Wendy. she's a great parent advocate in the Houston area, a great ally. So, well, great. Well, thanks y'all. Keep the comments coming. We really appreciate it. Okay, well, the next question I have on my wish list of things to get from you all is I always love sharing those stories, those examples of like, oh, I knew a student who did this. I know a family that did this. So what are some stories that demonstrate what the school culture is like at Jubilee? Because like earlier, Jessica and I were talking about this, like there's the determined destiny values. There's like the focusing on virtue values like balance but you kind of have to see a campus, right? You kind of have to like experience it to really understand it. So, but Dr. Phillips, can you share like some stories that you feel like demonstrate what the Jubilee school culture is like?
Yeah, and I'll send you a video, Inga, when we finish this. I'll figure out, it's a little long, but, and Jessica, you may have it. You may be able to get it to her. But what we've done intentionally on our campus is to set the culture. Jessica told you about the determined destiny values. We also talked about, like, what does that look like in action? So we developed our determined destiny culture so that when all students, when they're walking into the classroom, they're greeted with a smile and some type of touch point from a teacher in the sense of a fist bump, a high five, a hug, if that's what the kid says they want, or just a smile or a happy dance or whatever it is. We want to make that eye to eye contact with kids so that they know that an adult cares about them. And we take the time to just greet them into that classroom. And then once you walk into that classroom, we took a lot of time at the beginning of the year to create what we call excellence agreements. It's simply an agreement amongst the class of here's how we're going to treat each other in this class. You know, a lot of times you go into classrooms and you see these do's and don'ts and these rules and all of that on the board. We wanted to move away from that and just say, if we treat each other this way with excellence, that the entire classroom agrees upon, then we'll be fine. We don't need to have all these rules posted up. And so our teachers have done that. And you walk into any Jubilee campus, any classroom, you'll see, even in the kindergarten and pre-K rooms, those teachers figured out how to make that work in their rooms as well. And you'll see those excellence agreements on the walls. And then we do something what we call joy squared. We start every class period with something positive. Did y'all already talk about that? Okay, so I'm just reinforcing what you already
Yeah,
talked about.
but it's okay. I actually have a really cute story. So I was actually, I believe I was at the Lakeview campus, Inga, and I was walking around with one of our curriculum coaches, and they were kind of just, going around the classrooms, seeing what was going on. And she was able to capture it on video. But when she walked in, she was not greeted by the principal first. It was a student. And really that's what we want, right? That's what we promote. We're building leaders, not just in the classroom, in the community, everywhere. And we want them to, have that confidence to be able to do that, to stand up and say, hi, welcome to my classroom. Let me share a little bit about who we are and what we do and how we function and operate in here. And she took her to the wall and she explained the excellence agreement to her. And this is, a young student. I think it was maybe middle school, I believe it was. She looked pretty young. And she actually told her, before you can participate in the class or do anything further, you have to agree to our excellence agreement, because this is, how we roll in here, basically. You have to sign it. And so it was just really awesome to see that in, again, put into action. So it just shows that our values, really are, they're taking the values and they're putting them to work. And the students.
I'll tell you a funny story. Sorry to interrupt you, Jessica.
No, go.
So second week of school, Inga, I'm walking campuses, and a kid walks up to me. He was a ninth grader. Walks up to me and says, "Hey, sir, my name is," and he says his name, and he says, "How do you want to be greeted today?" And I was like, "Wow, this guy is pretty bold." Because I got my suit and tie on, and but he wants to let me know that they're doing this, and he was proud of that. So I looked at him and I said, "Well, I don't know you. I would give you a hug, but I don't know you. So I'll take a handshake." And so he starts looking at. He gives me a handshake, and then he comes in for the bro hug. You know how you got one hand and then hug. And he said, "Oh, it's okay, sir." So that was just a fun experience with that empowerment shake, is what we call it.
Mm-hmm. And I think too, from I was letting her know, these values carry on into the home. And we have like a family program as well, and we empower. So that's one of our values too, right? Empowerment. We empower our families to be a part of Jubilee. In fact, we have a superintendent advisory council that we've implemented. We meet with them on a quarterly basis, but we really do try to maintain that communication, and they do have a voice, and that is their platform to be able to share what they see is working, maybe, provide some feedback. Maybe we discuss what challenges we have, and we definitely can't just do it on our side. We need to have that parent perspective. And so we have several parents that are phenomenal ambassadors, and folks that have really, stuck with us through it all, through the thick and through the thin. And I think, there's some really great testimonials and stories. I encourage everyone to visit our website to check out our newsletters. We highlight a lot of those wonderful things that are happening every month in that newsletter. And so if you haven't subscribed yet, I do encourage you to do so, because that's really where you can start gaining a real understanding for who we are and what we do.
And Sandra,
Yeah.
one of the parents that made a comment, she's on the Superintendent's Advisory Council. And, I think it's more important now than in years past, where we allow parents to have some say-so in what's going on with their kids at school. That's why homeschools have been, so popular as of late. And if people choose to send their kid to a charter, they want to have a way to be able to influence what's going on in their kids' education life. And the Superintendent's Advisory Council is one way that we do that. And in that advisory council, I'm really happy about the work that we're going to be doing this year, where we're going to be working on profiles, the profile of a Jubilee graduate. And the parents get to tell us what's important to them as their kids progress through and get ready for graduation. What skills does the kid need to have? What knowledge does the kid need to have before they graduate high school with us? What experiences should they have? That's the profile of a Jubilee graduate. And then we're going to be working on the profile of an educator with Jubilee. And parents will get the opportunity to chime in and tell us what's most important to them regarding the people that are educating their children. And I think that's critical for us to be able to hear from them around that, so that when we're hiring teachers, we'll use that profile and say, do you meet this criteria? Because if you don't, then it's just not a good fit for Jubilee. And then we'll also be looking at the profile of a leader at Jubilee. And that's important, because when we look at growing from within or hiring from within, promoting people from within, we know exactly what we're looking for in those leadership positions. And our parents get to have some say-so in that.
Yes.
Yeah. Well, there are two things that y'all touched on that really echo things that we've been hearing from the parents, like in the charter moms community. Like, I was thinking about the excellence agreements, and like how students are greeted when they come in, and that builds relationships. Like, so parents are really concerned about safety. And part of that is, the physical security of the campuses, make sure everybody has to check their ID and the buildings are secure. But there's so much more to it than that, because it has to do with people. It has to do with like how students behave in the classroom, making sure they know what the expectations are and that they're doing it to support each other. And that's a foundation of having a safer school culture. And that's what parents are concerned about. They're like, how do we address this in a way that gets to the root causes? It isn't just like, oh, we've got plastic shields over in that closet. Like, that's not what parents want. They want safety as part of the school culture, as far as how people treat each other with respect.
Right. And
and that's a more proactive approach, right? You teach kids how to treat each other, versus after that behavior happens, you're trying to issue some consequences or play catch up. Now, kids are kids. Things are gonna happen. We're a public charter school, right? So, we're gonna accept kids who want to come to us. And some kids are gonna have to be taught a new way of doing school. And that's what Jubilee is committed to, allowing families that are interested. We're an open enrollment charter. So if you want to bring your kid, you fill out the application and you can bring your kid. Now, we do things a little different because our class sizes are a little bit smaller. Our schools as a whole are smaller than your neighborhood school. And so we hope to be able to have those opportunities where we're really connecting with our families, and we know our kids by names. We know our families by name. And so that personal connection is there that may not be there at your neighborhood school or in an ISD. But when we have situations where kids are not behaving in the way that we expect them to behave at school, then we have to deal with that. And we have to draw some lines in the sand at times and have some difficult conversations with parents, because we're committed to having an environment that kids are safe, they're not bullied, they're not mistreated, they're paid attention to, and we do some things intentionally to make sure kids get the attention that they need.
Yes, and Sandra has a good comment. I don't know. It says safety has been implemented all over the campus. See something, say something has really been working. Yes, that is a little campaign that we have running throughout all of our campuses. And I think students are doing it. I mean, they want to be safe too, and parents. And so that has really worked a whole lot on campus. Just that open communication, being able to share if they feel, a certain way, or if they see something that they don't think should be happening. And we give them that platform to do so, whether it's, letting us know in person or anonymously. So we definitely have implemented several other precautionary measures outside of, you're right. I think the key is building that relationship so that the student feels safe where they're at. We're their second home. They're with us, a whole lot of time. So when you think about it, it's like it's home and it's school. And that's where they spend the most of their time. And so we definitely want to create that environment. I mean, that's our mission, right? To provide a nurturing community. And that's exactly what we plan to do, and we are doing at Jubilee.
So, and Wendy keyed on something that I also picked up on, which is like having like Dr. Phillips talked about the advisory council that's communicating with the superintendent, that, it's so important to have a dialogue between the school and the parents. And that's something I think parents, as we sort of come out of the pandemic a little bit, parents got to see things up close, and they want to be able to have input on what's happening. And like, I can just tell from the comments, like there's a very engaged group of parents at Jubilee, and they're speaking up, and y'all are listening.
Did y'all talk about the principal's coffees?
No, I was just going to share that we host those like on Saturdays. And it's an opportunity. So whether it's a superintendent coffee, a principal coffee, it's an opportunity for that family on a Saturday morning, at a convenient time for them to come on and just, it's really informal. A lot of times, and just an opportunity to kind of engage and talk. And again, checking the pulse of the campus, right? What's going on? What have you seen? Are there challenges? Are you happy? What can we do better? What do we need from the parents? So, it's a dialogue, and it's that back and forth communication. And I think it's been really successful for Jubilee. I don't know, Dr. Phillips, if you want to add anything around that.
Yeah, I just like being able, when we do our superintendent's coffee on Saturdays, and we've done 2 of them this year already, just being able to just look parents in the eye and answer some questions or share some information. I don't always get to do that. So that's just an easy way for me to be able to stay connected with our families. But our principals have those once a month on their campuses, to where they invite the parents in. They'll have some tacos or some donuts or something, and some coffee. And I think it's pretty informal. They may have a couple little agenda items on there, but then the parents get to drive that conversation with the principal. And that's important, that we allow parents to be able to do that. Because if we don't open the door, then there's things that are going on in their minds or questions they may have that we don't get to answer. And we want to be, like Carrie Ann said, that we want to be as transparent as possible, and allow parents to be able to influence what goes on the campus.
Mm-hmm. And Ms. Sandra commented she appreciates the communication about school safety, like what happens on a lockdown drill. And so because there's open communication, the parents have that knowledge, and they're not as anxious, they're not as afraid of what is happening on campus when there's a safety issue.
Yeah, and Jubilee is one of those campuses, or district as a whole. On our campuses, we've committed to providing security guards, security officers on every single one of our campuses. That's a huge expense that was not funded by the state. But because we understand the need, then we committed to that particular act. Now, we rely heavily on our parents to let us know when they think something's going on, whether that's your kid making comments or you checking your kid's social media, whatever the case may be. If you think something's going on, we encourage them to let us know so that we can at least investigate it and see if there's a potential threat there.
Yeah. And another comment, Deshaun says, truly some amazing staff at the campus. So I'm really enjoying all these positive comments. It's great. Yeah. Okay. So I want to make sure before we close out that we share like the how-to, the call to action, like how families can get more information. But I want to make sure that y'all have a chance to share like any like closing thoughts, anything about like the values or like any upcoming events or like sports achievements, anything you want to share before we get to the nuts and bolts, like how families can take action?
For me, I think the thing that I would really want parents to know is Jubilee is a thriving organization. We're sitting at 6,200 kids right now in 4 different regions and growing. And we're one of those organizations that is not commercialized. We don't have a bunch of corporate partners that are telling us how to do our business. We have local authority with myself, our CEO, our leadership team. We meet regularly, and our campus principals. We are the decision makers. We're the one that is driving the focus of our campuses, not some big pie in the sky organization that is being driven by some other authority. And that's important because in 4 different regions, being intentional about what our kids are learning is very important, that we keep that local control. And we allow our principals to have some autonomy of what happens on their schools in each community. We want it relative to the communities that we're in. And that's important because what we do in RGV is not necessarily the same thing that we do in San Antonio, because the cultures are different. And what we do in Austin, and we want to be an organization that's tailored to the community that we're in. I think it's very important for parents to know that as we are in this open enrollment period, we will max out our classes at a certain size. And if you're kind of weighing, should I go, should I stay, or should I go?
Do we have music class too?
I want to encourage them. Just jump out there and take a tour. Go to the campus, meet the principal, meet some teachers, take a tour. I'm actually going to be in Austin on Monday doing a lunch and learn at 3 p.m. So if there's anybody that hears this and you're in Austin and you want to learn a little bit more about Jubilee, come out to the campus at 3 p.m. and we'll have some discussion there, and you can get some other questions answered. But we like that community family feel within our organization. So we're not going to be that type of campus that grows like super fast and we don't know the names of our kids and not connected to our parents. That's not going to be us. So we want to keep that community small feel while we grow within reason, with a controlled approach, I guess is what I would say. So seats are limited. I guess that's what I'm getting at. Seats are limited. And if you want to be a part of an organization that is values-based, that is centrally focused on what's best for students, then I invite you to just check us out.
Yes, and I just echo everything that Dr. Phillips has said. Like you said, we're in open enrollment right now, Inga. So this is the time. November 1 through January 31st is our open enrollment period. We do have a safe period for our existing families, and that ends though on December 16th. That means after December 16th, it's first come, first serve. And as Dr. Phillips said, we do have limited seats. So we encourage you to sign up as soon as possible. Take a tour. Follow us on social, sign up for, the newsletter so that you can stay engaged and know what's going on. We want to stay on your radar. And so you can follow us also on Facebook. We're always posting on Instagram. The handle is right there at Jubilee Academies. And you go to our website, jubileeacademies.org, and that is where you will be able to just research a little bit more, which campus you might be interested in. Again, all of them offer something a little bit different, something that might be fitting for your child. A smaller campus, a larger campus, I think we offer a wide spectrum of what the needs might look like for your family. And so again, I encourage you to, visit jubileeacademies.org, find out a little bit more about the organization, and then just register. We have, staff that will be following up with you all to see, what that next step looks like. And their seats are limited and you don't want to miss out. I really do encourage you all to take an opportunity, to take a chance, and to choose Jubilee.
Yeah. Well, I'm going to echo what Dr. Phillips and what Jessica said, that it's great to go on a tour. Now, you don't have to do the tour first. You could go ahead and do the application and then, figure out later, whether or not it's the right fit. So, because January 31st is the open enrollment deadline. So that's the deadline to get in before the lottery, and the applications they're quick, they're simple. But then like Dr. Phillips said, he's having a lunch and learn in Austin. Like there's these events and these opportunities to get to know the school better and get a feel for that culture.
Yes. And so he says the Lunch and Learn in Austin. So for our San Antonio families, November 16th is that day. So at our Jubilee Highland Hills location, that one is here on the southeast side. 1515 Goliad is the address for that one. And from 3, I believe it's 3 to 7, we will have our families. So it's existing families that will be re-enrolling, but also an opportunity for prospective families to come in, meet the administration, the principal, ask some questions, meet Dr. Phillips. He will be there as well. We'll have some light finger foods. And then, so you can ask us some questions, but you can also kind of network with those existing families. I mean, who better than the other parents, right? To find out what works for you. How is this going? I mean, they're going to tell you the truth. And the truth is we're pretty darn great, guys. We're pretty great. So I do invite you though, Jubilee Highland Hills on November 16th.
Well, but I won't be at that one on November 16th. I'll be in Austin.
On November. Okay, well, we'll talk about that later. But I thought you were.
November 16th is, that's Wednesday.
Yes.
The 14th is Monday. Yes, I'm sorry.
He will be there.
14th is Monday. I'll be in Austin.
Yes.
November 16th.
I'll be with you
in San Antonio.
in Austin too.
Right. Sorry.
I know the feeling. It's like, which day of the week? Where am I? What city am I in?
Yes.
I know the feeling,
I told him to start the interview. He's, superintendent. I said he's got a lot going on.
Thank you again, Inga,
so
for doing this.
Oh yeah, we can get it out to more families, because there's great things happening at Jubilee, and but families need to kind of see it in person and get a feel for that culture. So jubileeacademies.org, at Jubilee Academies on social, and open enrollment is happening now through January 31st. So thank you, Dr. Phillips. Thank you, Jessica Pastrano. It's been a great conversation. I look forward to visiting a campus again soon.
Yes, anytime. You're always welcome.
We'll see you soon.
Thank you so much.
Thank you so much.
All right, take care.
Bye.